Hey everyone, good morning. Thanks so much for being here. My name's Ashley Bass and I am a product manager at Tableau. And I got the awesome assignment of introducing our speakers this morning, although I feel like maybe they don't need an introduction. It seems like you're all best friends already, but welcome and thank you. And one of the areas that my team and I really focus on in Tableau Dev are programs that connect our customers and our customer community with our development team. So programs like our beta program, great interactions with Zens and our community on the forums. So of course I love TC and I'm really thrilled to be here with all of you and to be able to introduce these speakers because really the idea of our community and those connections that we make through Tableau is so powerful. And these two are a really great example of how you can leverage community and friendship and connection to inspire people and support and exchange information. So if you don't already know, speakers today are Pooja Gandhi and Adam Crane. And Pooja is an esteemed Tableau Zen master. She is also a senior visualizations analyst at Comcast NBC Universal. And Adam is a valued Tableau social ambassador and a data solutions engineer at Pluralsight. And together they are the data duo. So they are committed to engaging our Tableau and the whole data viz community with beautiful and functional data visualization. They give great tips, tricks, inspiration. They have an awesome blog and do lots of really fun projects, which we're here today to learn more about. So thank you.
Wow. Thank you.
Thanks for coming.
That kind of felt like I already won Iron Viz or something. Thank you for the introduction. So we are the Data Duo. After so many sessions that you could have chosen today, after Data Night Out, we really appreciate your presence. So thank you for joining us.
And we're going to learn a little bit today about some of our tips for success and the story of how we became best friends. And hopefully this will be usable for you. Don't forget to tweet, because Pooja's kind of an expert at that. And our handle's up here, too. Also, at the end of this we're going to give you a URL for our slide deck, so you don't need to take any pictures. You'll have access to the whole slide deck, and all the content you see you can download and from Tableau Public and take it apart. All right.
Yep.
Here we go. Maybe.
Okay. So why should you care to be here? We have seen so many faces around here who we know from Twitter, social media, on the forums. Community is great. Tableau has a very extraordinary community. But why should you really care to be at the Data Duo session? Today we're going to talk about how did we build our skills? How did we actually use the community? How did we use the resources, different types of projects that are out there? And how did we actually build those skills?
And can we just get a show of hands? How many here of you work for a living? Does anybody not? Okay. So we also both got really awesome jobs out of this. So that's another takeaway, is doing all this stuff that may seem stupid is both led us to new careers. So with that, I'm going to introduce Pooja Gandhi, Tableau Zen Master, Senior Visualizations Analyst at Comcast NBC Universal. How many Comcast people do we have here? We get a woo? Woo! All right. I hope Pluralsight came. She's also has the ability to just make up her own title at thedataduo.com. Since
he did that, actually.
Well, yes, because I'm nicer. She's the CEO and co-founder of thedataduo.com. Oh, and 3 things that you did not know about Pooja. One, she did not own sneakers until this trip. She bought them to go off-roading. Not like Paul, though. He almost got kicked out of there. So she did not own sneakers, so high heels and Pooja are kind of a thing. She has a little bit of a heavy foot when she's driving. We're going to learn a little bit more about that later. And probably the third thing that you don't know is she also had her bumper fall off her car, but it happened 3 minutes before her Comcast interview, and they still hired her. She was carrying it through a parking lot. This is a really great story.
Well, such is the power of collaboration. I ended up getting a job even 3 minutes before my bumper fell off. But okay, that's a different story. 3 things about Adam that you didn't know. How many of you here work from home? Okay. How many of you wear sunglasses at home? So Adam is sensitive to light. and he wears sunglasses at home, as he says. And he managed to get another job at Pluralsight. We have a few people from Pluralsight here. Okay, that was louder than Comcast. So he ended up getting a new job, but even that is a remote job. So he still wears sunglasses at home. He's sensitive to light.
That's not true. Ask Aubrey.
He is a social ambassador for Tableau, works at Pluralsight, and self-proclaimed CTO and the co-founder of the Data Duo.
That's all that was left.
The second fun fact, no, hold on. So the second fun fact is, how many of you here were at TC last year in Austin? How many of you participated in our survey about who's more fun?
What the heck? How come there should be more hands?
Okay. So the second fun fact is that this year he's actually become fun. Last year he wasn't. And the third thing is that he loves to mountain bike, but I hate his data because I have to deal with it.
All right, so our story here begins with the community, and it's really awesome to see most of you here in the crowd today. This picture is taken at last year at Austin, and so we're really excited about that.
Yeah, so Tableau has a great community, all of you, and we again thank you for joining. This is a nice picture of the group that I think we took in the community alley, and it was great to be part of that picture. I'm right in the middle somewhere. Adam is in the back.
I'm next to Roddy. He's got his arm up, and Brittany's not looking at the camera.
Yeah, so we all know that data is everywhere, right? It's all around us, and that's what we're going to talk about, what we have tracked, what we are doing with data, but luckily for us, inspiration is everywhere also, not just data. So we're going to talk about who inspired us and how it led to the Data Duo.
And we thought there's no better way to do that than by highlighting you with this short video that Tableau put together last year of the community.
I definitely would not have my career to where it is or the success I've had with Tableau without the community.
You can ask a question to anybody and they're so selfless and answering and helping. For me, it's my comfort zone. For me, it's just like how family is.
I think it's so important to have a community so that you can understand different perspectives. I mean, it's like any community. You want to understand different perspectives. And that's what's so important about a community, is mutual learning and really helping each other.
When I found the Tableau community and was drawn into it by the helpful people there, I said, I got to be part of this.
And what's really great about the community is that they pick you up and wrap you. The harder you run into it, the harder they come back at you.
I've got a community here that I can come back to, and they can assist me as I begin my Tableau journey.
Well, the breadth of the community makes that a very difficult question to answer because there's so many people.
There are so many good people that just give of their time and share their wisdom and their learnings.
I think the Tableau community itself is so inspirational. I think everybody from a new user to an old user have their own specific skill levels. So I think a new user would be inspirational in a way that they're so passionate about learning a product. So those are the people who would inspire me.
So my advice for somebody, just my one single piece of advice to somebody who's joining the community is to connect.
So if you're new to Tableau and you want to get into the community, the best thing to do is just start following some people on Twitter. And then if you can, get along to your local user group, get involved in the user group, because that's a great way of meeting people and asking questions.
The entire community is very special. It's very unique. You don't find it in other tools and other industries. It's very, very special.
So thank you, community.
Doesn't it just feel like you were doing yoga or something? I don't know. A technology company kind of like calms me down, like all these voices. It's very calming.
So like we said, our journey did begin in the community, and it began in the forums. And before you can do anything with the tool, you need to really understand it. You don't have to read these slides. We're going to kind of talk about it. But when I tried to start a Tableau doctor at my old job, and I went on the forums to try and test myself. But when I got there was this Pooja who was just always answering questions before everybody. I would be writing an answer, and then I would hit refresh, and she'd already posted.
And after he posted, it's still wrong. So it still doesn't count.
I don't know why we're up here. Okay, so then it wasn't always peachy, right? So one time, Pooja actually asked the question on the forums, and I thought, I got this, I know this, it's easy. It's a resolution, and I posted the answer, but...
It was wrong.
Shit. Okay, so then the next thing we did is Pooja is known as kind of the LOD queen. She's very good at...
How many of you like LODs? What did we do before version 9, I think? Table calcs, no.
So there was an LOD question. These are always the one that she beat me at. And I was up there typing away my question, trying to beat her, because you get points. And
what happened? Nice try, but that didn't still work.
Yeah, she actually wrote, sorry, that calc is wrong, mine's the correct one below. Nice try, Adam. Finally, okay, so is anybody really good at regular expressions? Okay, there's like
Toby?
Nobody, okay. Except Toby, okay. I was really excited to try and learn this because it's like Greek to me, and I had been complaining about it a while. Somebody finally asked a question on the forums, and I went out to try and actually learn how to do this, and I used a regex replace calculation.
But you know when that happens, like when you're trying to use something that you really want to use, but you actually don't even need to use it. He didn't really need to use the regular expressions in that question.
Yeah, I just needed to do replace. So Pooja was nice enough to tell everybody on there that you really don't need to do that. Way to go, Adam. I was so proud. And then she promised to teach me regular expressions. Like, how long was it? Like 18 months ago now?
A year ago. It's still not been taught.
She still hasn't.
He tries to wonder if I actually know it.
I don't think you do. I don't think you do. But then
finally, so finally I asked a question and he answered, and I was like, wow, that's something I did not know. So thank you for teaching me. But that's what exactly we're trying to tell here, that it's about collaborating. It's about talking to people. It's about learning from each other. It's not always about you know something and that's it. It's about sharing your knowledge. And I think that's what Tableau is so good at. I think it's the community that makes it so great. Whether be it on Twitter, be it on forums, be it on Tableau Public, everybody's so willing and helpful.
Yeah, and this time that we spent on the forums is really what built the foundation of our skills and where we learned everything. I'm really good at Google. When you get the live deck here, you can click this link. I found 50 different interactions of her telling me I was wrong. Go.
Okay, so like we said, we learn all of our tricks from the forums. So I think it's one thing to make a visualization really beautiful, but it's also another thing to make it functional. So to make that, you need to know the know-how, the behind the scenes about why and how and what you do with the product. So that's where we learn all of our tricks from all of you.
Thank you.
All of them.
All of them. So the next step in our process was moving beyond just being functional, but also making it beautiful. I'm a big believer that there's a balance in this, and that you have to engage your user base. Just because it's ugly doesn't mean it's right. Just because it's pretty doesn't mean it's useful. You have to balance both of these things together. And one way that came up right around the same time on the forums, we both started participating in February in the Makeover Monday project. How many of you know Makeover Monday?
Wow.
All right.
Exciting.
So that's run by Andy Kriebel and Eva Murray. And they have they choose a data set, it's usually on Sundays if you're, really proactive. And we did all of them last year. And we did about a lot of them until August.
We did it until August.
Yeah, this year. So this is definitely where we put our skills that we learned in the forums to the test. This is where we had that proficiency, and now we could start to practice. So with that, we are going to actually show you some of our Makeover Monday vizzes.
All right. How many of you participated in this data set that was hosted by Andy and Eva? Awesome. So this was about correlating prices between gold and oil. And here is an area chart that you see with the dual axis line chart that I created. And it's actually in one sheet. The annotation that you see here are also part of that sheet. The axis that you see here is also independently colored, so I don't have to combine two different sheets into one dashboard and make it more complicated. So here, if I click, you'll see a reference line that pops up with labels. But here, actually, it works better when it's hover. I have to kind of click it. So you see the price, basically, for that specific month for both gold and oil. And as I click on it, the dynamic bar here is also supposed to change, but somehow it doesn't because it's not hovering here. But that was a viz that I created for Makeover Monday. And I think, again, the point is that with one single data set, it's so fascinating to see so many of us take like a different approach to creating a visualization.
So the next one we're going to show you is, I believe it's the NFL viz. And so this visualization showed the NFL player arrests since 2000. And this is a work dashboard. And the reason I wanted to show this one is it's not just me making something that's colorful and cool for Tableau Public. Where are those Pluralsight people? Woo! Okay, yeah. Right after I published this, Curtis is like, yeah, that chart looks kind of familiar, because I had built it at work that week. And it was cool, and it seemed to go over well, so it made it into my Makeover Monday project. So as I hover, which is not working, so I'll click like Pooja did, it would highlight the team name on the chart vertically, really big, and it would show the number of arrests for that team. You could also click on like any particular team. I unfortunately am a Buffalo Bills fan. Stop laughing. And so when you click on that, it would highlight their chart, show you the number of arrests they had, and then all of the individual players are shown in that UPC chart, which is called that because it looks like a UPC. But this is a work dashboard, so across the top, you can see I've got a big title, very clearly showing the source. I have an area for my filters across the top, which is their NFL helmets here, but imagine your drop downs there. And then very clearly sectioned off two sheets. So this is a work dashboard that just looks really cool. Here we go.
All right, don't break. All right, so this was another Makeover Monday data set. Anybody here from Germany? Oh my God, that's totally fascinating. We need to take a picture later. So German automobile production, this is another data set that they provided. The top bar here that you see goes from 2008 to 2016. So the big numbers, anybody in the Big Book of Dashboard session yesterday? They made a good point about having a big bar at the top to kind of draw attention from your audience. And the line chart that you see here is a quarterly analysis, so to be able to pretty easily see what each point is for each specific year. And again, talking about collaboration, the picture here that you see, I don't even know what car that is. Audi, yes. The picture that you see here is something that Adam helped me with. So again, collaborating with somebody always kind of means that you have a champion. So if you don't know something, you kind of just defer it and it gets done.
Yeah, we learned a lot from each other for our collaboration during Makeover Monday. It's good to have that person to bounce something off of. This is my favorite Makeover Monday viz that I created. So I stuck it in here, and it turned out it made the long list in the Info is Beautiful Awards. It was just really good timing. So this one is showing 5 millennia of solar eclipses, and I just wanted to see, was there a cyclical pattern to the eclipses, because I knew there was. So I decided to use some radial bar chart type logic in here to create this pattern to show that, and it actually starts like a clock. So it's a non-standard visualization, so it's really important to make sure you have a how to read section so that you can actually tell people what you're doing. And so down in the bottom right corner, it shows that I'm starting at 12 o'clock is the oldest time period, and reading around clockwise, it gets more to the current time. And the further away from the center point and the darker the color is the longer duration of the eclipse. And then you can also click on these the bar chart here shows the distribution of the count by duration. But I wasn't just happy with that, so I actually used some tricks from Radi Zakovich back there to pull a dual axis forward. So when you click on one of these, it will well, this one's highlighting the different categories of the eclipse. But if you were to actually click on one of these bars, it will pull a dual axis forward and highlight them in a different color. So that was a trick I learned from Roddy. So this is another great thing about being in the community, is that all these people out there that can charge hundreds of dollars an hour will freely give up their time and write down how to do this stuff so you can steal it. So that is Makeover Monday, and our tip for success here is it really gave us a consistent platform to practice. It gave us access to all of these industry experts, people that we can interact with, also call friends now. Another benefit is anywhere we go, we just say, hey, data nerds, where are you? And you have somebody to drink a beer with. Or, what is it, vodka cranberry?
We don't need to mention that here.
Okay.
All right, so we have a data do-gooder in the room today, Chloe Sang.
She won the Vizzy.
Yeah, she's the recipient of the Vizzy Award this morning, the very esteemed Vizzy Award, so congratulations, Chloe. She is a data analyst at Twitter and does a fantastic job leading a project called Viz for Social Good. Any participants here? Awesome. So Viz for Social Good is led by Chloe. She works with nonprofit organizations to collect data and seeks for volunteers who would create visualizations to spread awareness of their specific topics. For example, UNICEF, Hidden Genius, United Nations. So there are a lot of different organizations that she works with, and kudos to you, Chloe, for doing a great job. And we actually are steady participants in the project as well. That was one of our things this year after participating in forums and Makeover Monday, to do good with data, to actually help the community benefit from the visualizations that we create. So here are 3 of our entries that were actually selected by those nonprofits. UNICEF selected both Adam's and my visualization that I created to spread awareness of the refugee and migrant children around the world, which was actually used in their publications, which was pretty exciting for us that, okay, we are creating something impactful that's actually benefiting the community. The middle one here is a collaboration that I did with Chantilly, who is a co-worker of mine at Comcast for Hidden Genius. That was also selected.
And since we built this deck, a 4th one of ours got us an invitation to speak at the United Nations, which we're really excited about.
We just heard that from Chloe last week.
So these are the ones that we did solo. After we did this, we thought, boy, we really should be doing these together. So we really started collaborating more on these. So I think every one of these since UNICEF, we've submitted a collaboration project instead of individually.
Rather do good with data combined than by yourself, right?
Right.
So keys to our success, again, is that when you learn something, why not help everybody else learn those skills? So for us, it was Viz for Social Good that helped us do good with data for the community.
Yeah, and it was just another project, too, that we could put on top of doing everything that we did on our own, plus Makeover Monday. And it's just, it does feel good to give back. So if you can, definitely participate and check out Chloe's website. The links in here will work when you get the deck. So that led us to the Data Duo. So we didn't plan that. And so our tagline here is that beautiful and functional. We already kind of described that. We had to build our functional skills in the forums, and then we built more of design skills in Makeover Monday. And so when she bullied me into starting this blog.
Fake news. I did not bully him.
We were trying to think of what are we going to put on there. There's a spot for a tagline, so we had to come up with one, and that really fit both of our styles. So we called it Beautiful and Functional Data Visualization. So we formed our blog in April of 2016, although like most things, we disagree on the actual day. She tends to believe it's the day that we tweeted it because the Twitter is responsible for
It's not the Twitter,
everything.
It's only Twitter.
Whatever. And so what is the Data Duo, right? So it is a way for us to collaborate. It was another way for us to build our knowledge and skills outside of the forums, outside of Makeover Monday. It's another way for us to be consistent. So we're to talk about a project that we started together. It was also a way for us to maintain some visibility in the community, so we did that through blog posts. And that actually helps us just as much as anybody else. It was a way for us to document our learning. So when I came up with something cool or stole it from you guys, I wrote it down so that I could refer to it later. So that I think most people that blog really just do it so they can find their own stuff later. And it also gave us the ability to have a portfolio. So in a little less than 2 years, I think we have like 250 Tableau public visualizations that you can download. And so we have an interactive gallery on our website that you can check out.
Any recruiters here who use Tableau Public to hire talent? Josh is one.
Pluralsight and Comcast.
See, but that's what I'm saying. It's a great platform to look at people's skills. It's a great way to kind of deviate from the static resumes that we have seen in the past. And good choice, Bill and Josh.
And this photo here was actually taken at the conference last year. This was our first collaboration viz during the Makeover Monday Live last year. We did not get into the room this year because it was full.
It was that popular. So since we formed the data duo, we decided, like Adam said earlier, we wanted something consistent. We wanted something that will keep us visible in the community, will help people like Josh and Bill to find us. So we created a project called the Dear Duo. Not the Dear Duo, oh my God, Dear Duo.
It's the Twitter.
No, it's not. This was inspired by a project from Jeffrey Schaefer and Andy Kriebel. They were just wrapping up their Dear Data 2 project at the time, and they inspired us, again, coming back to the whole inspiration from the community.
But
and we decided
they're overachievers, though. They did it every week.
They did it every week, yeah. So we decided to do it every month. I don't think we were going to do it every week and mail out postcards for 52 weeks. That's a bit of a commitment. So we formed Dear Duo. Dear Duo basically, we tracked data about each other and we exchanged it every month. So that taught me a lot about Adam, but at the same time, it also taught me a lot about myself. That I don't exercise too much, or I only have heels, or he only wears like black and gray. So there are a lot of things that we learned. So we could have saved money. We could have maybe helped him shop a little better. I don't know. There are some things that we learned in the project. And I think it helped us learn a lot about each other as well.
Yep, and it was another way to maintain consistency as well. It was a good way for us to learn a little bit about each other. So we're going to go through a couple of these dashboards and see what we learned. So first up, this happened in week 2. I told you Pooja had a heavy foot, right? And her bumper was on the ground.
That was the same car, by the way.
This visualization actually shows the number of cars that she passed. So this month, we actually tracked our annoyances. So for me, it was my kids. And for her, it was how many cars were driving slowly on her way to work. So she actually tracked the number of cars, the speed she was going, and my favorite thing is she called this field mind thought. And so she told me what she was thinking as she was passing this car. So
bad idea.
Across the top, I have like a Gantt chart there. So all those blue ones are days where she passed people. And on the pink lines at the top are the days she didn't pass people. So you can see she's kind of got a bit of a problem. And then we also, at the bottom, you can see the number of cars she passed. So the 141 cars she passed in like 30 days. It's ridiculous. And astonishingly, she did it at an average speed of 47 miles per hour.
Which is why I had to pass, though. They were so slow.
I don't even know how you did that. But my favorite part of this is as you hover, come on, Tableau Public. I'll click then instead. It'll actually filter and it'll show you how many cars she passed on a particular day and this speed. So this was on her road trip to Cleveland. She passed 18 cars at 77 miles per hour, which is over the speed limit. And her mind thought, this is my favorite field, is driving in Cleveland is horrible. Sorry, Cleveland.
Too much traffic.
I'll click on another one here. Why did I choose a Friday for shopping? I love this field. And up here, she's got, man, that's a boring one. Come on. He seems clueless. I think he's looking at directions on his phone and driving. Come on, man. So you get the idea. That's actually a separate chart up there that's using a cool reference line. So that's how I actually got it to be curved like a bubble. So that's a trick using reference lines if you want to download it. And the other 2 dots are just ASCII characters to fill out her mind cloud up there. So this was a really fun one to put together. I also learned a lot that, she obviously doesn't have any patience. And then over here, I definitely had to point out when the bumper fell on the ground.
Thanks, Comcast, for still hiring me. All right, so we are going to look at a dashboard that I created as part of Dear Duo, and this was, I believe, on Twitter Analytics. This is the dashboard that I created on Adam's Twitter Analytics. So if you type someone's name, let's say, what is Andy's?
VizWizBI.
So when I type in the name that's using a parameter here, you kind of see a filtered down list of tweets that Andy was mentioned in. The bars that you see behind the green and the lighted bars is basically using a level of detail calculation, so it remains constant. So you see context related to overall tweets, how did Andy do? And the bottom chart here is using a random function that gives you a list of tweets, retweets, likes, and engagements. So I thought that was a pretty nice dashboard on Adam's tweets here. And I believe I also have a URL action when you click on something. You kind of say, if you're nostalgic, you could click here to relive the tweet.
Okay, so as we mentioned in the beginning there, shoes are kind of a thing with Pooja. She tracked this month, she tracked her outfits, the color of her outfits, but she didn't tell me if top or bottom, so I just had to make that up. And then, because we're really bad at tracking data, I mean, like really bad, like I'll just take a minute here, like we're really bad at it. Like you're, especially you.
Because one of the data sets that he gave me about the outfits, I think it was the same month, the outfits that he wore, the colors. One of the field in Excel sheet that he passed over was that I wore this color in 2071. Instead of 2017.
Yeah.
So I had to manipulate data a lot.
Thank God Sean's here because we have some data quality problems.
Issues, yeah.
So, and we had fun doing that. So we wrote a blog each month and we pointed out those errors that each other made. And so it really kept each other accountable for this really crappy data that we gave to each other. And it was fun. This particular month, so like I said, she tracked the colors of her outfits, her accessories, her shoes. And I really did not want to put a rainbow on my viz. I really hate the rainbow spaghetti and that. So the best way that I could come up with it was very little dots to show the different colors of her outfits. And then, it's
not as simple as his though. He only wears black and gray.
Yeah, it's nice. Nice background. So another really good way, if you want somebody to look at your viz, is just put a big Pooja right in the middle of it. That works really well. And so you can see here on March 1st, Office Pooja wore blue and white. Again, we don't know what's top or bottom. She had paired that with beige shoes, an outfit with a scarf, necklace, and a watch. But as you click on one of these, it will actually change. Come on, go. It's not going to do it. It's supposed to change the background color behind her. I'm going to wait a second. Maybe it'll.
I think it's a little slow.
Maybe it'll catch up. So this one would actually say, on this day, it will tell you if it's office Pooja or casual Pooja. The only other shoes besides high heels were flip-flops that I had to work with. So I could tell if it was flip-flops this weekend, it was pretty fun. So it looks like the actions aren't working, so we're going to skip this. But this was a fun one. She wore black 20 times or 65% of the time. That's just kind of how the data duo rolls, so.
That's kind of true.
Yeah.
Anybody here who is like very health conscious? Like you exercise a lot, you go to the doctors at regular times. Okay. So Adam's steps.
Were higher than yours.
Were higher than mine, but it's still averaging 3,682 steps from December 1st, 2016 to June 27th. That's the time frame. So now my step count when we tracked this data was lesser than 10,000, but his is lesser than 10,000 too. So he told me, higher than mine, but still lesser than the dedicated goal of 10,000. So I think we both need to see a doctor. So these are the kind of things that we learned about each other, about ourselves. It's not just about creating a visual and be done with it. It's about learning about yourself, him, Tableau, the community. So I think the whole project was very cohesive in the way we learned things about each other.
So for everything that you've seen so far, we still had not even met each other in person. Is that hard to believe? Show of hands. Anybody?
That is very hard to believe.
So all of the things that you had seen so far, we had done remotely, which was insane. And so we actually did not meet each other until the Tableau conference last year. You could see I dressed up for the event. Yeah, black shirt as well. And this was at the Data Plus Women meetup last year in Austin.
And the amazing Johnny Walker. Is he here? Oh man, I have to give him a hard time for this. So Johnny Walker, how many of you have seen his work? Oh my goodness, he does amazing work. So we had the privilege to be introduced by him. I was totally thrilled that he introduced us, and this was 1 year ago.
Okay, so one more Dear Duo project. This goes back to the conference, and as Pooja said, we were trying to figure out, we really didn't want to track any data, let's be honest. We were at the conference and we didn't want to track anything for Dear Duo. So what we did is we came up with a form and we said, if you met one of us, you could guess our heights, and if you met both of us, I thought this would be a fun idea, and it turned out to be the worst idea ever, is that you could guess or tell us who you thought was more fun. This was not a good idea. So as you can see here, I put some little height icons in here. Neil Richards guessed that I was 3'1". I mean, I know he's on the metric system, but come on, you know, that's a little crazy. Although is it him too? No, Toby guessed you were 3'1". So
we need to talk.
And so we actually tracked those height guesses. We tracked our votes to see who thought we were more fun. I blame Craig Bloodworth for having to listen to a year of You Are the Less Fun Half of the Data Duo. Thanks,
Oh,
Craig.
and you know what is the fun part though? For people who were not at the conference last year, still call him the less fun half.
I've never even met them. But the other thing I wanted to do is on the right, I wanted to kind of get a breakdown of those votes by hour. So as you can see here, the red is Pooja and the orange is Adam. Pooja generally owned conference time. All right, so like during the sessions, she's obviously more likable. She was getting a lot more votes. But when we get to the bar time, there's a clear transformation in the votes.
Anybody here?
Wait.
No, I have to tell this. Anybody here who participated in this survey at bar time last year?
They're still sleeping. They had data night out.
So you are the victim of his vote campaigns that he did in wartime. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, so as you can see, I have a long line here in the middle, and that's about the time I looked at the survey results and realized I was getting my butt kicked. And then I had Fee Gordon ramp up the social machine to get me some votes during bar time. So if you were a part of that, you know, thanks.
The victims.
It was not a good idea. We're never doing that again. Oh, yes, so let me go back. Yes, we wanted to highlight the community. We let people vote more than once because you may have met her once or you may have met me and we may not have been together at the time. So Brittany, and we allowed multiple votes and each vote got you a chance to win some swag. B. Fong voted 5 times. She did win some swag and so did Chloe, I think. We did 2 t-shirts. That was our incentive to get people to actually vote. So what can you learn from our Dear Duo and Data Duo collaboration is that you really need to find somebody to be your champion. Everything is easier with somebody else who's there. It gave me somebody to collaborate with, somebody to say, what do you really think of this visualization? A lot of times on the Twitter, people just throw out, it's totally the Twitter. A lot of times they just, you just get a lot of kudos and you don't get a lot of genuine feedback. So it was pretty good to have somebody to say, no, that looks kind of crappy, you should change that, or somebody to challenge you.
And I've done that a lot of times.
Yeah. So definitely find somebody to be your champion. If she turns out to be a Zen master, you did a good job.
Duo Dare. So this was our second project. So Dear Duo ran for an entire year. We finished 12 visualizations in a time frame of 12 months. For Duo Dare, we realized, as we mentioned earlier, that we are not good at tracking data. We had to collect data, we had to manipulate it a lot of times. So we thought that we are not going to do that again. So for that, we decided to do Duo Dare, meaning challenge each other on a data set that we find. And we each committed to finding a data set 6 data sets. So we're going to do 6 and 6. It's going to be another year-long project. I think we have finished 1 so far. The second one is going to be revealed today. So that's something that we'll talk about later.
Jump the gun.
We are going to dare each other basically in this project to create a visualization based on a common data set and have you as the community vote for who is the better one. At Vizzing, not fun.
And you can win swag. So if you vote for us and you give us your name, you get entered into winning some t-shirts or something at the end of the year. So we're actually going to show you our first month that we did last month. Anybody like Bob Ross? Yeah? Yeah, Joy Painting. All right, so we are going to show you what we came up with this. So I got this data set from 538. They actually tracked like 67 attributes of every painting of Bob Ross ever. I sent it to Pooja and you closed it immediately, right?
Yeah, it was just a lot of columns with zeros and ones.
Yeah, it was like 67 columns of zeros and ones. And so what I did is I actually aggregated them some more. He actually broke out, 538 broke out like every type of tree. And I was really just more interested in the tree. And so the other thing I did is I built some joy plots. Thank you for Chris Love for blogging, probably for himself, so he could remember how he did it.
Yeah.
It's not easy, probably not even worth it. But I created joy plots because it's the joy of painting. And I think I came up with a way here to not only offset them, but using transparency and a highlight action. Tableau, no. Okay, I'll click. There is a highlight action that will bring them forward. So even if there is something like mountains that might be behind sky, there was a hover highlight action in there that would pull them forward. So I addressed a lot of the downsides of using a joy plot. And this was just a fun visualization, and it happened to be the hot chart. And since we're having a community vote, I thought I would tie all these themes together. Another thing I did at the bottom is I created my own Bob Ross painting using these. So you can see the sky and the snow-capped mountains and the grass and some flowers and some water, right? That's all cool. And then you click on any one of these and it would actually show you all the different attributes, the title of that painting, what season it was in, and it used a lot of random functions to paint those attributes on the screen. So that was my entry for Dare Duo 1, or no, Duo Dare.
Duo Dare.
We gotta change that.
All right, is it going to load? All right, and this was my entry. Thanks for everybody who voted for me. So here you see the different bubbles that I have right here, and when you hover, it's supposed to actually give a sheet, but I don't know, hover action somehow doesn't work on this. It's supposed to give a sheet of top 5 attributes in that specific season. Here are just episodes that were featured in that specific season, and the keywords that were used, basically. This was a nice one as well. So hover action works here. When you hover over a specific bar chart here for different attributes, it shows you the rank of the same attribute used in different seasons. So I grouped them by decades. And the side panel that you see here basically just gives an understanding of who Bob Ross is, who was and what he did, and how many seasons he featured in.
So we had our vote. Thank you to all who voted, but you'd think I would have learned my lesson from the last vote. I did not. So month 1 turned out to be... Yeah, I'm gonna watch. Yeah, it felt like that every time. Like, oh, I got a new vote. No, it's not me. It was, what was it?
I think it was 48 to 21 votes.
Something ridiculous. So please vote. You know, another way to say it is maybe something like this.
2 votes, Ruth. 2 votes, Ethan. I'll read the last vote. Second person voted out of the Saboga tribe. Rudy, please bring me a torch.
Love you, Rudy.
Rudy, the tribe has spoken. It's time for you to go.
The tribe has spoken. Okay. So with that, we are going to present to you live our Duo Dare 2 and have you vote.
Live.
Live. Don't let me get my butt kicked every month. So we actually picked this data set a couple of months ago, and we had it all done. But what we actually did is Pooja found this.
Yes, so it's about movie body counts. I think the data set was put together by Randy Olson. I think it had 534 movies, if I'm not wrong, unless it's 537. 537 movies, and shows what movie was the most deadliest in that category.
And it was another messy data set. It was a challenge to work with. So there were 22 unique genre tags, but they were all aggregated into a single field. And it had over 208 combinations of these different tags. And so I was trying to figure out a way to visualize this. So I wrote like 13 or 14 different LOD calculations that used contains. And I searched all those strings because I didn't think it was fair if something was labeled action and adventure to just say it was action or just say it was adventure. I think it would be fair to take that genre as a whole. So what we did is I listed each of the genres, and then using those LOD calculations, I was able to figure out the different deaths that happened in those movies. And then I also started to think about this data set and thinking of, are things really changing over time, or are we just collecting more data more recently? So that at the bottom, I actually showed a distinct count of the films, so you could get an idea of that it's just really more films that were collected recently. It's not necessarily that they're more gruesome or anything like that. Another thing that I did at the bottom is I wanted to get to every single film. I didn't want to limit it, so I created this scatter plot. I'm going to say I truncated the axis, and there's an alert down there at the bottom, because no movie will ever have a 0 duration. So the y-axis is the duration of the movie, and the x is the IMDb score, or rating. And so you can actually see the average rating based on those two measures. And as you were to hover over one of these, like the Lord of the Rings, it would tell you, how many different people died in that movie. And as you can see, it says action. If I were to actually click on, like, say, adventure, and come back, that will now say adventure in there. So I overplotted all of those points like 13 times, so that when you use the hover actions, you can either click on a genre from the top, or from a particular year, it would highlight those individual movies, and you could figure out what genre they were in based on what you actually clicked on. So it was pretty messy data to work with, but this is my entry. Vote.
Okay, so this is my entry. So I already did the work for finding the data set, so I did not do 13 level of detail calculations, just saying. So the top bar right here shows you different movies, the top 10 deadliest movies in that specific category. And when you hover over the bar, you see how many deaths in how many movies and what was the movie with maximum deaths. So I kind of told the story in the labels itself, pretty easy to read and see. If you hover over here, 989 deaths in 12 movies. The year was 1997, and the movie was Titanic.
So this was really interesting to us when we did it. We both had, our styles have merged together as we've done more collaborations. We both had a box in our viz, like separating it using text boxes. We both had an image. We both showed movies and deaths, like the count of movies, and that measure over time. So it was pretty interesting to see that the styles were growing.
Absolutely.
But let's just figure out what you guys think. So you can go to, if you don't mind, get your phones out. You can go to our URL. If you're able to text, that hopefully won't crash our presentation. You can text Adam Crane 027 to 22333, A for Pooja, B for me. This is a live vote, so these numbers will update as you guys are voting.
Come on, guys.
If you go to the website, you get to tap our faces.
Oh my God.
Yes.
5?
Uh-oh, tides are turning. Uh-oh.
You all became the victims of his vote campaign again.
Is this the who's more fun vote?
Oh my God, this is going to be embarrassing.
Oh yes, this is how I felt last year. Oh, who's that?
Oh my goodness.
We're going to wait a minute because I'm going to enjoy this.
You need to live your moment.
Yeah. We're done. Oh, really? Well, we can end it there. Okay.
Oh my God!
I win!
No!
Maximum votes. Okay, we didn't do our research.
Okay, so the overall theme of our presentation is basically to let you know that building the skills in the community forums, talking to everybody at the conferences, networking, being consistent, and helping others along the way, like Wisp for Social Good, what Chloe does, what all of you do to help the community is basically our theme. The fact that we found awesome jobs at Comcast and Pluralsight, I think is a testament enough that if your work is visible and if you're doing a good job, you probably would get hired.
And I don't know if this will work for everybody, but I know for getting hired, but if you follow steps like this, the tribe will find you. We'll find your vibe. So we aren't going to take questions, but if you want to connect with us, come up here now, or you can get some business cards. All these links will be active. Please fill out the session survey so we can come back and do this again. And that is the URL for this presentation at the bottom. So if you want any of these slides or to get access to any of those links, just snap a picture of this one, and you'll have access to it. It's all hosted on our blog. So thank you.
Thank you all.